Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Williams. I am podcast host with LUXE Life and realtor with Coldwell Banker Gold Coast. It is my pleasure. I tell you what, I am super excited to have these two fantastic women on my podcast today. I tell if our interview goes anything like our conversations have, buckle up because we are gonna get ready to launch this thing. I have none other than two girls and a hammer. And Rose Kallas and Christine Morgan. Originally, I came across Christine Morgan in Instagram. We were both realtors at the same brokerage firm at the time and saw her Instagram, loved it, said, I have to connect with her, loved what she was doing, and here we are. So introduce yourselves, please.
Power of social media.
Power of social media is amazing, isn't it?
So I'm Christine Morgan. Yes, I'm in App Properties, which you were too. And this is my business partner, who's also my aunt, and we've been in business for 5 years, Rose Kallas.
Nice to meet everyone. Can't wait to get started.
This is going to be so much fun. So what also besides, I love Christine's social media, love what she has to do, the interior decorating, the design, what I've seen her do from start to finish. Make sure to check them out on Instagram. And we'll make sure that all of their information websites are at the end of the of our episode, as well as within our description. So be sure to check them out and see why I am off the chain with these ladies.
We like that everybody can see our stuff too. I mean, that's like, you see it in itself.
You can see the detail and the quality that of your workmanship and what you're doing. So, people are, wait, what a second, what are they doing here? Okay, so not only are you EPA and state of Illinois lead paint certified, which is a big deal. For me, the bigger deal is the fact that you guys are licensed women, licensed contractors in the city of Chicago, the city I know and love. How long have you been doing that? How long have you been doing this?
5 big years.
Congratulations.
A couple months.
Yeah. Yep.
So our first project was, we decided to do this. It's a whole long story, but we decided to do this. And our first project was at 1200 Lakeshore Drive, and like the Benjamin Marshall building right at the corner of Division and Lakeshore. And it was a full gut. And that's where it all began.
Amazing. And look where you are today.
A hope and a dream.
It shows what we can do with determination. You have the drive, you have the passion, you have the determination. So what other services, we go to your website, we can find the different services that you provide, gut rentals, kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, general design, a whole list.
Correct.
What's your passion? What else do you do?
We do everything. We do everything, like top to bottom, from like excavation of basements. We've done that for clients. Obviously, we are not the ones with the shovel. No, I'm just kidding. But
I was the one with the shovel in the past. Well, my company was, so I get that.
But we've done like that, to like blowing off back of houses. We've done additions. We've done second floors. We are like bidding on dormers. We've done commercial. We've done tons of residential, high rises downtown Chicago. We've gone out to the burbs and done the big single families. Kind of runs the gamut.
So it really kind of anything we can bring to you. So when I am ready to do my home office, you can come and check that out.
Bougie it up for you.
That sounds fabulous. What finishes do you like to use? What are your preferred? Because again, when we go to your Instagram and we check out your social media, you're not using run of the day, run of the mill, everyday things. You really aren't. It's different.
We try to separate ourselves.
We love to work with new materials. And we feel that in doing that, if we can find a material that's unusual, that fits within our client's budget, we highly encourage them to step out of the box a little bit. There's not, everybody is, you can go to the tile store and you can see the same thing and it's over and over and over again. It's a gray with a swoosh through it. And Oh, you can get it in a 12 by 12 or a 12 by 24 or a 36 by 36. And it's, everybody's got it. You can see it in hotels. What we like to do is all the various finishes. And we just finished a bathroom and we
Oh,
put
this
in
is
a
cool.
mural.
In Lincoln Square.
It's a hand painted mural as the feature wall in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
Each tile was hand painted. And our client,
Like she made the tile, she painted the tile, she put the tile in the kiln, she shipped she packaged the tile, she shipped the tile, and then we unpacked it.
every tile was numbered. And there was only one tile that came in cracked, believe it or not. But but what we did was, because that was such a feature, we decided to do something different on the walls, and we didn't tile the walls. And we
micro cemented the walls. So it's like a waterproof plaster. So there's no grout lines, there's no like seams. You just have to be like good on the color. And there are several, options and stuff. Luis Venegas did it for us, and he's like the plaster king. He like did it in a week and a half because there's so many layers of like having to come back and to like, go over it again and add another layer. And then, people are like intimidated by plaster because it's, they want drywall, they think it's easier and whatnot. But this is amazing.
And the thing is you don't have to wash it. You have to clean tile.
Right.
You don't have to clean the cement.
You just spray it.
And it's like, it feels like, I'm going to equate this to a baby's butt. It's so smooth. And it's just amazing. And we put in little niches. So we just put a little, a granite shelf in there. And then he just put all of the compounds and everything in the cement completely around it. It is stunning and no maintenance.
And it doesn't compete with the beautiful feature.
Right. And so then the other thing is we're big on putting large format tiles, 48 by 48. They're now coming out. For a while there, everybody was using full stone in a shower. And, a full slab of marble or granite or whatever is very expensive. But now there's porcelain tiles that look like stone that are 48 by 60 that can go right into a shower and cover the whole wall.
They've come a long way.
Right there. Yeah.
Right. So there's no grout lines. Again, you've got very minimal. You've just got them in the corners or, depending on how tall your shower is. But you can get that same effect without spending the money that it costs for a slab of stone and to have it installed and fabricated.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
The hustle is real around here.
Again, that's why we connected right off the bat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have you on the podcast because I love your energy and your vibe and you think outside of the box. You're not doing normal cookie cutter things, just like
we don't want to.
We don't want to. I mean, and I think, the one thing
we don't.
I mean, honestly, if to be honest with you, we're not the cheapest, but we're not the most expensive either. And we keep a lot of people employed. And that's the most important thing. I mean, if you want a Home Depot bathroom, we're not the girls for you. I'm sorry to say it. We would love to do your project, but that's not what we do. We do an elevated project, but we also are cognizant of the client's budget. And that's the key. And we're really frank about it. We don't do the, $300,000 bathrooms because, there's not many people that do that, but we do have clients that watch HGTV, that watch, that watch podcasts or listen to podcasts, as well as, any of the platforms that have any kind of a design show on it.
DIYs.
Yeah. And they know what they want. It's just, how can we achieve that for them within their budget? And we're very honest. Let me tell you, the money is behind the walls. It's the plumbing, it's the electrical. It's, and the materials have gone sky high. We talk about inflation. and those poor truckers need to come across the Ambassador Bridge because they've got all of our
Here we
wood.
go.
They've got the wood on the trucks because the Canadians provide us with wood and drywall and we don't have it.
I was ready to send some sort of private plane. I don't know what it's gonna do.
I mean, my gosh, because that's part of it, and so costs have escalated. And what you paid for a kitchen, if you would have done a renovation a year and a half ago, is going to almost cost you double in today's market.
Right.
Because labor costs have gone up. I mean, plumbers are hard to find. Good plumbers are hard to find, and they command a higher salary, and they deserve it.
Yeah.
Right.
They deserve it. A trade deserves to be paid. And a lot of people in their mind think, oh, he's just a plumber. Okay, but that's not just the case. I mean, the plumber is important.
You can't put that toilet in without that plumber.
That's the same way with the electrician. They're like, oh, they're just an electrician, but no, it's expensive. It's the infrastructure before you even get to the tile.
Right.
Before you even get to the vanity.
It
It's not
is.
installing panels.
No, and
We've
we're
got
not
the electrician for that.
right. And most of the time when we're looking at a bathroom, that bathroom's over 20 years old. So the piping is probably not copper.
Yep.
The electrical wires, who knew where they ran? I mean, we were in a 100-year-old house yesterday, and it's like, oh yeah, we have
These
this.
are cloth.
They still have cloth wire in that house, which is
Isn't it? It's mind-boggling, isn't it? When
Right,
you run
it's
across
common.
things, you're like,
It's common though.
it is, but it's just, you're like, wait a second, how did we think that this was a good idea?
Right.
right.
And we work in a lot of like old Victorian houses, and
Yeah.
there's stuff that's not ground. I mean, anyway.
But that's part of it is people say, I want to redo the shower and replace the toilet. Okay. So when we take that out, it's a problem because what's going on behind there? Oh, we have a constant leak. Okay. Something's causing that leak. So
Yeah, it
those are
did
the
just
kind of
start,
things that people need to be aware of, that it's just not the fancy part, whether it's a kitchen. It's not just putting in those new cabinets. It's about the infrastructure behind everything.
Right.
That once we start digging into those walls, is
Yeah.
what we find. So if we have to move some power, what we find to move that power, what's behind there, a lot of times we have to rewire an entire kitchen. I mean, literally from the basement up,
Right.
because they had wires to nowhere. I mean, it was, and they weren't grounded. They could have set the house could have just gone up in flames. So
Probably would have in time, yes.
absolutely. So, those are the kind of things that any of your listeners need to be aware of when they're thinking about a renovation project. If your house is more than 20 years old, more than likely, you're going to need some upgrades, whether it's to your electrical panel. Your panel could maybe not hold if we're doing a kitchen and you're putting in all these new modern appliances. Your electrical panel may not hold that type of wattage. So
Yeah.
that's got to be upgraded. And the wiring could be very old. So those are all things that we really take into consideration when we work with clients.
Right.
And you have to, because when we're working with the public and you're working with your clients, especially whether it's real estate or construction, there's all these steps and processes. And
Yes.
you have to choose somebody that know, like, and trust, right? But that we know is going to walk us through that and guide us, where you can trust when you say, oh, you know what, your electrical panel needs to be upgraded because you just put in a sub-zero refrigerator and you used to have like a little fridge. You have to trust that you have that knowledge.
Yes.
And you do.
Yeah.
And we do everything like start to finish. So when Rose and I go out like to a bid, we always go together to like the first bid to meet the client and see what the scope of work is going to be and talk through the project and all of that stuff. Like we're from cradle to grave, right? So from the day that we meet them to the day that the project is wrapped up, like you're communicating directly with us, like, or more often than not on like the family chat, like the group text that like constantly goes off, but it's got, our clients and us like all on it. Everybody's on the same page and it just makes it manageable.
So
It's transparency.
Totally.
Exactly. And once
Or available. Like
Right.
we get back to you. We like see
Well,
what the issue is. It's all like there.
Right.
Yeah. How many times do we have that you
Or
try
you don't have that.
And you don't hear back from anybody. You don't respond to a text message. We don't get, our clients are calling and, maybe not us, but the clients are calling someone else, texting, no response,
Right.
and that's so frustrating. I mean, it takes
Well, Christine had the brilliant idea to set up the group texts.
It's
So
helpful.
it's helpful. So we named
It is.
once we have the client and we're committed, so then
They
we
signed
set
the old contract
we
and
have
they
the
are like
contract.
moving forward.
then we start with the text and I do a lot of the shopping or the ideas
Design
and
stuff.
design. So I start sending, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think
nice.
about that? Tell me about this, sending
Thumbs up.
some thumbs
So-
up, thumbs down. Hey, we can get this great light fixture. What do you think about it? I've sourced it, that sort of thing, so that everybody's informed, as well as our guys at the end of the day will send us a video. Oh, this is what we completed. Okay, this is the problems we found. This is this. So then we're able to communicate that to our client, or if we're, there's a question or anything, we'll send them that video and it'll say, okay, this is what we've done
Right.
today. If perhaps they've moved out for the day, moved
Well,
out for a couple of weeks, or they're on vacation
Or
or
they don't live
whatever.
here and they're
Or they
remote,
don't- yeah,
they're
or-
running completely.
Right.
Exactly. So we can send them a video and just say, okay, this is where we're up to date with your project. Cabinets should be in on such and such a date. So it's a really open communication, and it's a new way of doing things, because before, as you said, nobody would pick up the phone. Nobody returns calls after 5 o'clock, and all that.
We're very available,
We're
which is
very-
like almost
Let
to
me
our,
tell
like,
you something. We are 24/7 with the texting and answering, and on the weekends. I mean, we really get back to our clients.
Which you
And
need to be.
you
I
have
mean,
to
we have to be, and you're not only are you also with the videos and the tile selections, any kind of selections that you have, thumbs up, thumbs down. The client also feels like they're a part of the project and
Totally.
feels engaged and feels, because
You're
9
making
times out of 10 you're
executive decisions.
yes, and you
Yeah.
have accountability as well. So again, it takes that experience and that anxiety, that level of, not everybody has a construction background. Not everybody has a real estate background.
Mhm.
They don't know. I mean, I'm not a dentist. I would have no clue where to start, So it takes that anxiety level and just brings it down so much.
And we point everything out to them, or the guys would take a video and say, hey, we opened up this wall and we found a bunch of electrocuted rats back here because
You take a picture.
because
text it.
guess what? This
Needs no words.
this was not grounded. So you've got this, and
a
literally,
squirrel.
and
It was a
it was a
squirrel.
squirrel, but it literally happened when we did a basement.
I'm sure.
Found out that, it literally the whoever had, whether it was the former homeowner or who, we don't know,
Sure.
but the wiring that grounds to the main pole was not grounded. It was
Wow.
it was
It was
live.
non-existent.
Well, yeah. So everything was live behind her house. Again, going back to burning down the house, that house was ready to go up in flames. That's how
Could you
bad.
imagine?
Oh, and she had young kids. I mean, that's the scary part.
And she
So-
didn't own it that long, so
Yeah.
it was like totally inspected and everything else.
But that's something behind the drywall that you can't see. And that's what we say, is there's so many unknowns in these old homes. When
Yeah.
we go to open that up, you don't know how many years ago somebody did something.
It's
Whatever they
amazing.
did.
Somebody's
know?
uncle came over and helped him out.
And what we found out is, had she decided to hang a picture in that spot, she would have electrocuted herself.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I
crazy.
mean, the thought of something like that is just, I mean, it's chilling. It
Scary.
really is. It's
Yeah.
really, it's scary. It's like, what the heck are we talking about? It's unbelievable. And again, it goes back to the qualification, just like you pointed out, somebody's uncle, somebody we don't know, obviously 9 times out of 10 was not a licensed contractor
Whoa.
that
there's
did that
Or
kind
a
of thing.
plumber, or
Or
an
a plumber, or electrician,
Doing this
or.
Your heart's in the right
Yeah.
spot.
Oh,
but
wait a
like,
minute. I know that you put white with white and black with black when you do electrical, so I can do it.
no good deed goes unpunished.
That's right. I mean,
And
to
it's amazing with electrical tape.
Oh my, yeah. It's interesting. You go to open up walls and different things and what you're going to find, so also in all of this, because I mean, that's fantastic that you guys take that extra time, those extra steps to make sure that we're good. You know, your clients are protected.
Right.
Their transparency as far as extras, that's another a huge thing. Oh my gosh, the extras, overrunning, and at least you're communicating. Again, it's all about communication. Good idea, right?
It's a big deal. It's a huge deal, especially when we're doing like refresh for resales and stuff, where we go in and like paint for people and like do like the smaller things. That's a huge, like it's a huge time crunch. Like, oh my God, when can we get this stone in? When can we do this painting? When can we do this? So we're going, pictures are coming, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a lot. We got to keep on it.
It's a lot. And especially if I'm having you come in and do a refresh on one of mine, I'm going to be like, when can I get I need to get a stage. I need to get the photos. I need to get the video. I got to get it on. I want to get it live so I can get it sold.
Schedule is kind of important.
Yeah, it's all, a communication timeline, knowing what we're doing here is kind of important to know what's happening. That's unbelievable. Like I said, there's so many things besides corporate build outs, again, painting. I mean, you do all the way from fence installations, which some people might think, oh, fence installation, no big deal. Well, welcome to Chicago.
Right. We have we have a crew that like does exterior stuff.
Sure.
So it's, very helpful to have like, they're dedicated to do that. Like we've got different teams that like will rotate through projects. So like the demo guys are going to go to, project 1, but on project 2, we're already like, we need the electrician there. And then we need the carpenter there. And like, you know what I mean? So they're like cycle through. So we were able to like manage having a few going at one time. After 5 years, we figured this out, but it took a while.
Coordinating everybody is a big deal. I mean, it's it's like who's at what project on what day, because it's
who's
important. The other thing is we don't want to waste anybody's time. We don't want an electrician standing around with nothing to do, because it's still costing, right? It's still costing money. So we want to make sure that everybody's ready to go for whatever day they're scheduled for, that everything's set for them. The framing's up, or the drywall is up and they can finish mudding, or whatever it might be.
Right.
We're very cognizant of keeping our guys on time, on schedule.
On time, on schedule, on budget. Isn't that all we can ever ask and provide to our clients? That's the biggest thing. So do you have any products that you love to work with that are your like go-to, or any manufacturers that are just, what I have found, yes, I might have used, and don't name of somebody who might have you used. Who are you using now? What are you?
Yeah.
Like in the kitchen, there's, there's different stuff than in the bathroom. So like, I feel like in the kitchen,
well,
designer.
One of the things that you're going to find, I think you might find interesting, is the fact that a kitchen cabinet is a box. It's what you put on the front of that box and on the inside of the box is important.
Yes.
And so we have a number of manufacturers that we work with,
like all the rollouts and all that,
that all of that. The interiors are the most important because of functionality.
Right.
And we do not, in full disclosure, we do not buy cabinets from the big box stores, because we can't get the sizes we want. We can't get the quality we want. And for us to pay a carpenter to customize those, by the time we're done, we're paying the same thing as paying for one of our custom shops.
Yeah, which makes sense, because there's so many times like we have wasted space. Remember back in the 70s, we had the Lazy Susans, which we all thought was back then was like the greatest thing.
Right? Not anymore.
How much wasted space do we have? Now we have the racks that pull out. We can take and make an L cabinet and pull them out, and it works. Amazing.
And that's such an attractive feature too.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing your kitchen for yourself, right? When you're going to sell it, like that like sets you apart from other listings, like that's a really nice, because if you have a family, whatever, like it's just organized. It's not like you're opening a cabinet door and everything's falling on your head.
Right.
It's helpful.
And we find that, kitchen cabinets are expensive.
Oh, yes.
They've gotten, and so if you're gonna spend your money, spend it in the cabinets where you're going to get the most functionality, because that's why you're redoing your kitchen, is because A, maybe you don't have enough cabinet space, or B, you need a pantry or whatever it might
Right.
be.
Sure.
You know, getting things off the rack, it just doesn't work anymore. And the other problem, which maybe your readers or your listeners need to know about, is the fact that you've heard about all those barges sitting out there with containers in California
Yeah.
for a year, 6 months, 8 months. A lot of the stuff comes from Vietnam and from China that's been sitting out there. So what's been happening is things have landed.
Rose is getting it in today.
And now guess what? They land in your house and they fall apart because there's no temperature control. And we all know
Or humidity control.
the temperature and humidity is very important on a wood piece. And so
I mean, yeah.
there's a lot of warping. There's a lot of drawers don't open. There's
Or
a lot of
closed.
things are closed. I
Could you
mean,
imagine?
It's true.
yeah, you open up
I
a
know,
box-
but I mean, could you imagine that?
yeah,
It'd be
you open,
terrible.
you open up a box from one of the, whether it's an online retailer for, say, like a vanity, for a bathroom vanity, you open up that box and it falls apart because it's been expanded and contracted so
It's
many
been
times.
sitting out on the high seas for a year.
Right, exactly. And you're
Floating.
you're
Yeah.
still paying for
Could you
it.
imagine?
Oh, I got a thing recently, and this is
Or
totally
salt water.
totally off topic, but it was like, if you've ordered this cookbook, don't count on it because the
Yeah.
barge sank. So all
What?
yeah,
Can you imagine?
I know, but it's kind of the same thing, right? You know, but I mean, it just sank.
That's why
in
you
the-
didn't get your vanity in
yeah.
the bottom of the ocean.
So those are the things that should be, that any of your listeners, if whether they're doing a DIY project or whatever, just be aware that some of the stuff that's coming into the suppliers now has been sitting out there for quite a while. And
Especially because we would be so excited because it's flooding back. Now it's
Right.
flooding in.
right.
And so, I mean, it's almost like when we had, and I don't know how familiar you are with the drywall in Florida. There was a time when there was
Yes.
drywall from Florida that was in Florida in some of the homes that
Right.
Yeah.
couldn't. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
It's a big deal.
But
Yes.
it's, I mean, doing construction now, like in 2022, like kind of at the end of this pandemic, hopefully, I mean, versus what we were doing in like 2017, 2018, which is,
Yeah.
was not like, we were not doing nearly as much as we're doing now, but still totally different ball of wax.
Oh,
Like,
completely. What do they say? What you got you to?
change everything about how we work. I mean, going back to like the basics, we still have our outline of how we run our company,
Sure.
but everything else, like we've had to pivot.
Yeah.
What you have to do, right? If you want to like make this work, I mean, we were ordering a lot of stuff from like Amazon during the pandemic because guess what?
They have
We're
it.
Prime members and it came the next day.
Yeah. And guess what? And a number of the things that we would normally order from a regular, say, plumbing supplier,
Even like a faucet,
a
like
faucet, they didn't have them, but Amazon had the same brand, the same model number, and it was even less expensive. So, you know,
so we shopped online.
we shopped online as much
Well,
as
I mean, and sometimes you have to. I like the word, some people use the word shift. Right now, I don't think the shifting is correct for what we've been going through. I think pivot is the perfect, because you do have to pivot, because we're continually, okay, now we're doing this, now we're doing this,
Right.
now here's this challenge, here's that challenge, and you guys have it figured out from a
Yeah.
construction standpoint. You
Hopefully
definitely.
we never will have it.
no,
figured
there's always,
We're still pivoting.
Yeah.
We're gonna pivot next week. We're gonna pivot next month. We're gonna just pivot.
we're pivoting.
I think you're
so
pivoting
we're
without
pivoting in
knowing
circles,
that you
right?
are.
Right.
It's just, but yeah, no, it's been interesting. And I mean, we, sometimes we couldn't get tile that we wanted, we couldn't, so we'd find something else. We'd search and scour and we found some closeouts in some basements and, I mean, it's, yeah, but you'd be
But
surprised.
it was like amazing.
Yeah, it was
Like, look at-
amazing tile, I mean, it was beautiful,
I mean,
so-
well, this wasn't in the basement.
no, that wasn't in the basement, but look at that.
Oh, I like that. So what is
So
that?
we'll sample.
It looks like a
Ombre.
mosaic, but it's an ombre porcelain.
I was
It
just
looks
gonna
like
ask if that was a
mosaic.
porcelain. I
Yeah,
like that.
I know, and it's cool, but when you look at it, you think, oh my God, it's mosaic, until you get really close, and then it's porcelain. So it's less expensive than
Mhm.
mosaic.
Right.
Like
That
those
is
mosaics, cost
each
cutting those
little
pieces.
stone. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, the mosaic is it comes on a sheet and you have all these
Yeah.
little tiles for
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't know what mosaic tiles are. A lot of times that's how it is. And you can cut them. Yes, you can cut the webbing in the sheet to custom fit something, but it's a pain because you have all
Right,
these,
yeah.
Or
know,
they will break.
yeah,
It's like
guaranteed,
kind of a guarantee.
guaranteed. Trust me. That's
But yeah, it's fun. And like we've just kind of like made Chicago like our playground as far as like shopping and stuff. Like we've really tried to shop local. We've tried to like support, especially during all this pandemic stuff. Like we've tried to support like our carpenter and stuff, like that's doing, like custom build outs and all of that stuff because we can control it. We know what's going on in the shop, right? We know who's delivering it. We know who's installing it. Like it's all when it's getting delivered, like all of that is like manageable.
sure.
And we've also tried to like go shopping like at the store. Like Rose
Right.
and I are at the store with a client, like picking stuff out because it's a guarantee. Again, it's cash and carry. And sometimes you just gotta go that route.
Sometimes you do. I think I love the fact that you are trying to as best as you can to stick to the city, to stick to, where you're working,
And
give,
well, and two, it's the client's budget, I mean, there's a number of materials that are available that they're, 16, 18, 20 weeks out. Well, and then
on that barge.
on that barge, right.
Insane.
The
And
floating barge,
yeah,
not the sunk barge.
one lighting company, literally their stuff was sitting on the barge, and then they realized they slowly started taking it off the barge that was still in the middle of the ocean. Then they had to FedEx it. Do you know the cost of putting lighting on a FedEx plane? I mean, it was insane, but they needed, to fill these orders because they were big commercial orders. They're in the hole. I mean, it's like you can't even imagine the cost. You can't even imagine.
This is throwing everybody a curveball.
So it's great.
Especially when it's like construction and it's time, like everything is like we're dependent on certain things happening at certain times. And one thing has to happen before the next thing can happen.
Yeah.
So we don't start a project until we have all of the finished materials on site. Or we have
Makes sense.
we know that we can get it right away.
Yeah.
Like we won't start the project until we have all that stuff because we don't want to like open walls up and demo and half the time there's like people working from home and it's a disaster. So we've really like tried to make sure that everything is on site. We demo it, we do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. Because otherwise it's a whole hot mess and then everybody's mad at everybody and
nobody wants that.
Skip that.
And then the other challenge that Chris said was the fact that people are working from home.
Yeah.
So they're on a conference call and it's like, can you not use the saw because I'm on a conference call for the next half hour, or the kids are home learning, and, Harvard University is going on upstairs and, it's been a challenge, and having little ones running through construction sites are hard.
That's never good.
Never good. It's never good. And we had one, her kids came down and we're doing the floors and there's nails everywhere. I'm like,
put some shoes on, kiddo.
Put some shoes. They came down barefoot. I'm like, oh my God, go back upstairs, kids. Put your boots on. Put your construction boots on, But, so that's also been a challenge for us because
it's also helped like grow our business.
Right.
Insanely.
Right.
Because I mean, this could have gone one of two ways and we were fortunate enough for this to like, go up.
Yeah.
But it's because people were sitting at home. Like we joke about it, but it's so true. It's like they're sitting at home working and they hear their faucet dripping.
Yeah.
Or they like are reminded about like how much, they're sitting in like their kitchen and they are reminded constantly about how much they hate their kitchen and how much that stone just sucks, right? Like they just don't want it. Exactly. So they're like, oh my God, like let's make some, let's do some stuff around here. And then it starts with like, oh, let's just change out the faucet. And it goes into like, I've never liked those countertops. You know, the sink, you know, it's like leaks. And then I hate that backsplash tile. Like I want stone up the wall. So then it ends up being like a kitchen gut. Cause then you never like the cabinets either.
Yeah.
Cause those are, you know, outdated and don't have all the bells and whistles and stuff. So I mean, that has been what's happening. And people, I feel like they're not spending their money to travel, you know, like they went through a whole portion
Right,
of
they're
not
not.
traveling or not doing much. So they had like the
cash.
the
They've
cash
got the
to
money to
spend on
do
their
it.
house. And that was what was most important at the time.
And with the crazy real estate market, people have
Especially
realized
last year, it was like
that-
wild.
that they need to hold on to their home and make it comfortable for themselves, because they're not going anywhere anytime soon, because there's nothing to buy. Everything that goes on the market goes for overpriced right now. And, you know, inventory is very low. So if their likelihood of finding something comparable or maybe an upgrade from what they've got is slim to none anymore.
So
So
they're sticking
It
to
is.
their
they're sticking
guns.
with it. They're improving it with the hope of staying there either like 10 years until the kids are out of school and going to college, or at least another 5.
Right.
And then hopefully they'll be able to upgrade and move up, or, you know, whatever. But that's been the other driver for remodeling.
I would say 90% of our clients are on the 5 to 10 year plan.
Sure, I could see that. I could see where, you know, you're sitting tight, but you're waiting until the kids get
Yep.
out of school. You know,
Yep.
I've had a few clients. I have one now that's looking for a home with two primary suites. So one on the first floor, one on the second floor. So,
We
you
can
know,
make it
that's,
happen.
well, trust me, I'm like, hey, wait a second. If we do this, if I find something, then I know who I'm going to call to go, okay, now you guys can go design build. We bought this house here. I think it's going to work great. Have fun. And you can run away with it.
But
Yeah.
half the time, like that's the only way to like do it.
It's
is
the only
do
way
it
we're going to
yourself.
find this.
That's such
Yeah.
like a, you know, it's not a common desire. Like,
No.
you know what I mean?
No.
So
And we have a number of clients that have parents that are aging, as you were kind of alluding to.
Yeah.
With the first and second.
That's what
floor
this is.
bathrooms.
multi-generational.
Yeah,
home.
multi-generational
Yeah.
homes, which is kind of interesting because particularly in Chicago, you know, there was always the 2 flats, the 3 flats where the whole family lived on the floors.
Yes.
And, you know, then they got away from that. And now they're going back to, you know, having, you know, multi-generational families living together. And that seems to be a really big trend too. And I don't know if you're seeing it in your market, you know, for real estate, but
We
we're
are.
seeing that with the requests for remodeling. You know, we'd like to upgrade the basement. We need another bedroom. We have visitors. We don't have enough, you know,
But home
or-
offices too.
and home
And
offices.
2 home
are-
offices. Now, instead of 1 home office, now you
right.
need 4 bedrooms.
Yep.
Now you need, you know, for your guests to come visit.
Yep.
And now instead of 1 home office, you need 2 because both
Right.
people are
Always
on
people
Zoom,
working. Yeah.
Yep.
and the kids are doing it. It has changed. It's changed everything. It's forced us to, like you said, look around. Oh, wait, the faucet's dripping, and then it evolves into, you know,
Right.
I saw a throw blanket that I liked the other day, and now I'm like totally ready to change everything because I work from home so much. I'm like, oh, hey,
We saw a client this week, and it's like, well, how do you live? You know, he goes, well, my office is in the basement. I said, well, you know, if you don't want to blow out the back, we could redo the basement. We could put an office down here. He goes, well, my wife needs one too. I said, well, then we'll put 2 offices down here, but, you know, and create a play area for the kids or whatever, you know, but he said, we can't find a house because we were going to just move, sell this house.
Yeah.
But we love this house. So it's like, okay, make that decision.
But it's also like now it's worth the massive renovation, right?
Right.
Like it's
that is
you
it
run the
too.
comps and it's like, you know, you see both sides. We run comps for like, you know, most of our clients that, you know, ask
As
us
you
that
should,
don't have
yes.
the intention, like they're like, hey, we're staying here. We don't even care if it makes, you know, sense for us to like back out the number. But the majority of our clients want to know that their investment is like worthwhile. So we run the comps and it, you know, find out what their house is worth as is, and then what it's going to be worth when the renovation is completely finished. And if it makes sense, like great. And if it doesn't, they have to make the decision. Is this worth it? And, you know,
Take it
handle
from
it.
there or get a new house. I mean,
Mhm.
and then that's a journey for them.
Oh, that's a journey.
Yeah, and a lot of them, it's a big disruption too. If you've got the kids and then you've got 2 offices going, so you're working from home, trying to decide to buy a new place, going out and looking, and then, dealing where the kid's going to go to school, what's this. So it's a big undertaking.
Right.
And sometimes it's easier just to do the renovation and stay where you're at. And a number of people that we talked to, even a couple of them 2 years ago, are coming back to us and say, look, we tried to do this,
Didn't
we
work.
tried to do, didn't work,
Sure.
So now it's like,
We
okay,
lost.
we're staying and we're going to make it our own. We're gonna make this our home until whenever.
They made
Yeah.
the commitment, but at
Right.
least then they're going into it thinking like, hey, like I've seen this, I've lived this, I've tried to go, the other way, and I can't. It doesn't work. So at least they're making like an educated decision, and they're not
Right.
going to feel bad about this later on. Like they know what they're getting, they know what they're doing. And
They know what they're getting into, and you're arming them with the knowledge.
Right.
You're
Right.
running the comps and making sure that, of course, if somebody says, I don't care what the comps say, I'm still going to put the money into the home because it's my enjoyment. I love the house. I
and they're
love
also-
my neighbors. I love my neighborhood. I don't want to move. But at least you are educating them. You're arming them with knowledge, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then there to hold their, not always hold their hand, but to guide them throughout this journey
Right.
that they're
They're the
undertaking.
ones making the final decision, and it's like we're not pushing them one way or the other. Like this
No.
is like a very realistic, thing. This
Yeah.
is what the like the current market. We run it like the day that we provide like the bid to them.
Yeah, you have to, and again, you have to understand all those working parts
There's
to
a
the
lot of them.
process. There's so many. I don't think people realize how many working parts there are to whether it's home ownership, or it is the whole process from start to finish with construction.
Right.
Yes, we can all watch HGTV. We can go through house and look through and scroll through like, oh my gosh, I love this. Check out the newsletters, and we can look at Architectural Digest, anything, House Beautiful, all of those different publications, and it looks so easy,
Mhm.
and it's not.
Right. And,
Right.
and it's in a lot, it's predominantly too, it's about the budget, and the budget is really important. And we stress that with our clients. And if they're, we talked about if they're going to be there for a long period of time.
That's the first
but-
question we ask them.
and-
What's your
and-
plan here?
Yeah, and then talk about their budget, and there's times they'll say, well, I'm thinking, I can do this for $20,000. And we say, no. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's just no way. I mean, it's just unrealistic.
Right.
And here are the reasons why.
Right.
And then I walk them through and I start pointing things out, and we both
Try
walk
to
around,
scale back.
whether
and-
it's the kitchen or whether this or whatever, if you saved this, if you did that. But I mean, realistically, this is old. We're looking at 40-year-old bathroom. I mean, do you know what's behind those walls, which is probably galvanized metal?
Right,
It's
and you
not
can't
copper,
have that. Yeah, you
No.
can't. you
But we
need
also,
copper.
we don't want them to like come back to us and be like, oh my God, guess what? My bathroom is leaking all over the basement.
Right,
Like
right.
we don't want to we'd rather like
I
do
mean-
it right the first time and have no worry about like, 3 years down the line, they're going to have to gut their bathroom because the whatever is
Yeah.
leaking.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then they're not, I mean, we all want the 5-star reviews, right? We all want we want our clients to be happy and satisfied. Word of mouth, positive word of mouth. I mean,
Yeah.
no amount of social media is going to trump word of
Right.
mouth.
Right.
Nothing you do is going to trump
Right.
that. And so you're being proactive, taking advantage of the time that you have, the knowledge that you have, the dynamic that two of you have is fantastic. I mean, you guys are a hoot. I can't wait to have a tequila tasting with you. Yeah.
That's up next. But going back to, we have walked into projects where, and to be honest, we get a lot of those calls for handymen.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We need, that, my faucet's leaking or this or that, but I'm thinking about maybe I'll redo the bathroom. So we get there and they had just done the bathroom like 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And
Several
we're like,
times.
well, what did you do? All we did was put in a new vanity. And I
And
said,
the
well,
vanity's soaking wet.
and it's like, well, you didn't look at the plumbing behind the wall before you put, I said, how old was the plumbing before? Oh, like 40 years old. I'm like, no, no, this is why you're leaking. This is why your ceiling is falling down on the first floor.
Right.
I mean, those are the problems. And there are people out there that'll say, sure, I'll change out the vanity.
Right.
I'll
Right.
change
They went with the cheapest guy. They went with the cheapest contractor.
Absolutely. And we find there's a lot of those people out there that are just, well, we're honest. We'll tell you, it's like, that's not going to work, or we can do this instead of what you want to do.
But there's a time and a place, right? Like that.
Right.
Yeah. And so
For the most part, like I would spend the money on doing things like, especially like plumbing and electrical and all of that stuff, like the right way the first time.
yeah. And that bathroom's going to last you 20 or 30 years. It's going to last once you sell that house, it's going to last the next person because you did everything right behind the walls. And
You did it right behind the walls. You can also certify, when as real estate agents, when we're listing the property, we can say that new plumbing, there's been upgraded, because what do most people come into a house and they see something that's dated and they're like, oh my gosh, the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Rightfully so. At 40 years old, I know I needed work. You know what I mean? Anybody does. So why would we expect our homes to be any different?
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of the same. It's a great analogy, is the fact that everything deteriorates. Our plumbing is deteriorating.
But that's
right?
why Botox exists.
And so
My hair, every color,
you got to take care of it. And there are homes that I know you've gone into, and that are a mid-century modern home built in the 50s.
Yes.
And it's been well taken care of. And it still has the original tile and everything like that.
Which is so fun.
Which is so much fun. But behind those walls, they're wondering why the faucet doesn't shut off. And it's like, because the valves are bad back there. They're only going to hold, and there's, sediment buildup, and there's all of that stuff that happens in an older home, an older building.
But we do love finding those like gems.
Yes.
Like where nothing's been touched and it's been like, owned by the same person for the last 60 years. And we're going in and it's like this pristine, like the cleanest bathroom. You could like eat off like the cleanest bathroom on the planet. And it's in perfect condition, but
everything is leaking and it's so bad. We just try to see what we can, but we love those homes. And we love to preserve. It's one of the other things we do. We love mid-century modern. We love going to Modernism Week in Palm Springs. We love all of that, but we also love vintage homes, and we try to keep that integrity and design it to be modern, but yet honor the historical nature of the home, whatever.
Which is so important.
Right. It's, you walk into a Victorian and you have this modern white and black kitchen. Somehow that just doesn't seem to fit. But yet if you walk in and you've got some really nice, soft, beautiful colors in woods and maybe, a little bit of stained glass and things like that, it complements the home. It doesn't detract from the original of the design and the architecture of the home.
Right. It keeps the integrity. We're maintaining the integrity.
We're very respectful of that.
We have to keep our history in the details and the architecture, because let's face it, what's being done today is not with the same, typically not with the same detail.
Right.
In craftsmanship, quality of craftsmanship. I mean, a 2x4 today isn't a 2x4.
No. Right.
Then it was.
Yeah.
And not as much as it was a year ago, but
and you see some of that beautiful plaster work that was done. Those artisans are gone. They didn't pass on those molded plasters. Now you put foam core up there that's decorated, that's supposed to look like it, right?
Yeah.
Painted over 1,000 times with a bunch of drips and it's supposed to look old. But the tin ceilings and all of that. I mean, we try to keep those and get them restored and keep, some of the integrity of the homes.
But sometimes you just have to say, you don't want to keep this. This is going to be like cost prohibitive. Like you can't. It's cheaper for you to go buy something new and have us make it to look like that, and it's brand new. I mean, sometimes that's just the right way to go.
Yeah. We try our
start from
best.
start new, because it's so hard for us to like take it, have it like completely like dipped and have like, a piece of trim, for instance, or a door, take it in, have it like sanded, stained, redo it, and reinstall it. Nothing lines up. Like it's just easier to start, from scratch.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, not to, but sometimes it is just more, it's cost prohibitive, but we can
Right.
still do something that's cost effective, looks great. It's got the style and design that we're looking for.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing too. I mean, it sounds like you guys are just, I mean, you're on it. You get it.
We try. We learn something new every day,
Well, that's always a good thing.
It is, it
Me
is.
too.
Otherwise, if you don't learn every day, then why are you here, right?
Yeah, what are you doing? Come on. We always have to be
Exactly.
learning and growing and expanding. I think that's pivotal too. We we have touched on so many things. Now, I do recall from a previous conversation, you got something at Tribune Tower, correct?
We do. We
You
did.
do tell. Do give us a little insight onto that, because I feel that we have a coming episode possibly, on site at that. So give us
amazing.
give us a little sneak peek.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Like the new residences, like it's beautiful. They did an amazing job.
Very nice.
But they delivered very neutral, plain, simple units. So a lot of them need to, a lot of the new owners wanted to like put some personality in there. So like we've been wallpapering and we've been doing built-ins and, kind of everything. Like, we've been keeping like the floors and the kitchens are beautiful and the stone that's in there is beautiful and the fireplaces are there, but they just want to make it more, their own, aside from like having like completely white walls and, it just feeling cold.
Yeah, there was personalization to it, add
Mhm.
some character.
Right.
So the one project that we're working on with a fabulous carpenter here in Chicago, he's an amazing woodworker. And these cabinets are unbelievable. In the Tribune, there's 11-foot ceilings. So if you can imagine an entire wall
Like an
to
L.
the ceiling, an L-shaped, unbelievable. And we even in the doors, in the inset of the doors of the cabinetry, we copied the Tribune kind of logo. It's all over the Tribune.
You did
building.
not.
We did. It is
laser cut in
it's
Brooklyn.
laser
It's
cut, and it
here.
is so cool because this particular unit it's on the green space and they have a patio and they have that same design outside, and we carried it inside for the
cool.
inserts of the cabinetry.
That's not cool. That is unbelievable.
It's really neat. It's stunning.
It might be a little extra.
And beautiful walnut shelves. Unbelievable.
Like
It's
super thick, I mean, you walk in and you
unbelievable.
just see the quality, right? Like, and he's the same carpenter that's doing our custom vanities that can do like the cabinetry, all that stuff. Yes, it's more money, but look what you're getting. You're getting like something no one else has. There is not one
Super
other
custom.
there
Super
that has
custom.
ultra custom. Yep. And it's, I mean, they decided they wanted to do black on the back, like panels on the back. Great. He was able to just, again, pivot and go back in and install all that stuff. We got our architectural grills stuff, like for the front of the cabinetry, like the mesh, all that came in. We made that game time decision at the, mid project.
It's stunning, and it's almost completely finished. So
When it's finished,
Lots of wallpaper.
Yeah,
we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I want to come. I'd love to come and take and do a show.
Oh, that'd be great. They would
episode.
absolutely love it. They would
Let's-
absolutely, the clients would love it, and so would Keith, our wonderful carpenter and designer, and
Unbelievable.
unbelievable. And believe it or not, he has his own shop here in Chicago, and he's just so creative and smart and
He can be
just
on the next one.
I
yeah.
was gonna say we should have him, and then almost if he would let us come to the location as well. Now you guys have
Oh,
to
yeah.
come with, because you guys, like I said, you guys are a hoot. I love
Absolutely. Well, he's a big tall boy from Ohio. He kind of looks like Paul Bunyan, but he's so nice, and but his work is just stunning. I mean, there's you open the doors at the drawers and they're all walnut on the inside.
You
I mean,
don't
where
hear that. You don't hear that.
you don't hear about it, you don't see it anymore. I mean, you see it maybe in some of these old mansions, like
Sure.
maybe the Vanderbilt mansion. Let's go there, or maybe
Right.
one of those.
Something ultra luxury.
Yeah, something from the old days, right? The golden era, the golden age when they had the craftsmen to do this. Keith is doing that in his shop in Chicago. And, it's expensive. I mean, it's not cheap, but the work is unbelievable. And we just love working with him. And then we started the creative part about, taking and putting in the matching logos, on the grill part and everything like that. And it's really special.
I can't wait to see that because I love Tribune. I mean, I love the location and to know.
Yeah.
But the building, I mean, their
building
amenities.
History and
Wonderful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
They
Stunning,
did.
amazing.
I have to say that they did it well. It's a building that was offices and they did it well. And they
I was wondering how it was going to turn out with the conversion.
I saw Phil Vitale, and I don't know if you know the truth, but Phil Vitale was the food critic, and I ran into him and I said, "So where was your office in the Tribune Tower?" I said, "Because we're working." He goes, "I was on the 3rd floor and the 4th floor." I go, "Oh my God, we're working on both floors." So I said, "Where was your office located?" I said, "Because it's maybe a condo we're working in now."
Maybe that's where we are. And see, that's the thing. Like now, that's what I'm seeing quite a bit come across my desk and in my inbox is that with the units that are in the urban areas, downtown, so on and so forth, that are commercial, now they're going to start changing them over to condos.
Yeah.
Like we are seeing quite a bit of different retrofitting all across the nation. I mean, look at Montgomery Ward, look at the,
it's so cool. That's another building that
and if they do it right, if they don't cut the corners, and I have to say, they kept the integrity of the lobbies.
They did.
They kept they kept the elevator doors, and we hear that they found McCormick's desk.
Shut up.
They're gonna create a library around it. That's what we hear. So
word on the street.
Word on the street is, but yeah. So how cool is that? That they're honoring, the past, but yet it's done very well for the future.
Yeah.
It's also, I mean, that 3rd floor, that level, that's the main, that's the amenities level. That goes around like the park that they have in place right in the middle. So
it's like a big
you
green
live like
space.
You're in a single family home. Like it's completely different. These are, 3-bed, 3-bath, and you have a backyard, and then I mean, it's different.
Neat. It's really neat.
It's certainly
the
different.
location. I mean, you can't beat the location, really. I mean, obviously there's other residences throughout Chicago that are fabulous as well. This one just that you can't beat the history. In my opinion, you have a hard time doing that.
Right. Yes. And it's also so new. And I mean, there's still tons of, stuff for sale in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very cool.
It's super unique.
It is. And as I said, I can't say it enough that the architects, the developers, the builders,
well thought out.
There's sometimes you go into a renovation like that and you go, wait a minute, why did they do that?
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking? You know what I mean? But the biggest thing that we laughed when we first went in there, which was in July, which they were still under active construction. I mean, it was crazy. When you walked into the main lobby, blue tape was everywhere, and as a contractor, you always got the blue tape finding, there's a divot here.
There's this here.
Yeah, right. So now the blue tape is gone, but they paid attention to the detail. They took in mind the residents. There is a hole on the loading dock area. There's this beautiful dog run. You should see this thing. It's amazing.
Well.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, this is like these dogs are living in the lap of luxury because it's so cute. It's
a dog there, right?
Oh my God.
But
it's the cutest thing in the world,
it's a wonderful building to work in, and they've been nothing but amazing to work with.
Yep.
And it's hard on everybody's side. us, because there are not many units that have like, designers really in there doing a lot of work yet. But
Yeah.
also like they're just getting their feet wet with like getting people in. I mean, they didn't accept like occupancy until like July or something.
Right.
So, I mean, this has been a huge transition. So they've been wonderful to work with. We also do a lot of work at 161 at Olympia Center at 161 East Chicago.
Sure.
I mean, they've been great to work with as well.
And that's another challenge though, too, that you guys are able to navigate. We look at single family homes, we look at single family
Totally
construction,
different.
and it's completely different because where you are used to like, okay, ComEd, you're going to call for the village, sewer and water taps, so on and so forth. Oh, wait a second. When you're in the city, it's a whole different beast.
Well, it's
Yes.
the high rise thing, right?
Exactly,
high-rises,
because you're
yeah.
dealing with not only the city, but you also are dealing with the mechanicals. You're
Property
dealing with all of the property management. Then you've got everybody's input on what you're going to do, when you're going to work, your work hours from here to here. It's an added layer of challenges.
Right.
Yeah. Then there's the freight issue, the freight elevator issue.
Oh, and then
Have it
parking.
everywhere. There
Right.
is not.
It's half of the time they don't work. And then there's where you're going to park, you can't park in the loading, I mean, so there's,
That's
and
another
there's,
premium.
and there's trucks, I mean, it's crazy, but we've managed to navigate through a lot of those issues, and just get it done, whatever it takes to make sure that, we get the project
But
moving.
people also don't take those costs into consideration. Like,
Right.
like the parking issue, like
Parking in the city.
tough. I
forget
mean,
it.
it depends on where you are. I mean, but some of them don't have, like functioning loadings,
Yeah,
loading docks
right.
and stuff. Like
Yeah, we have
it
to,
depends how old the building is. Is it super vintage? Or like
Yeah.
we got a real problem
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
what's going on? That's why Rose and I will always go out like, and meet with the potential client like first and kind of evaluate what needs to be done and find out who the property management company is, what their restrictions are, and kind of get an idea early on.
Sure.
So that we can kind of base our whole scope of work on what's happening.
Right. And it's about coordinating, communicating.
Yep.
And again, a lot of times you look at these projects and you look at these different things, no matter what you're doing, and you two are almost like the ringleader with all of the different, you're the center, the head of the band, and you have all these different working parts.
Mhm.
And if everything works together the way it's supposed to,
Which it never does.
it never does, but
Closer.
that's okay. It still makes beautiful music.
Right.
It still puts on a performance because other people aren't going to catch that because you are working together and communicating.
Right.
It's not going to stand out like, oh my gosh, it won't.
Also I mean, if we're having this many problems, like somebody else is going to have just as many problems, like we're following the same rules that like would be
Right.
given to any contractor. So, I mean, people do realize that, our clients do realize that, and that's why it takes, longer to finish stuff or whatnot. I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
it's harder in multiple use buildings. It's just more difficult. You've
It
got
is.
You've
It is
got,
a challenge.
elevator time to deal with. There's parking. There's work restricted hours. I mean, some buildings you can only work and you can't start making noise
9 to
until
4.
9, and
Right.
then you have to be out of there by 4 o'clock.
And they won't even let you on the dock before 9
Right.
o'clock.
You
So-
got to schedule that. And then
Right.
you have to schedule the elevator because someone has to be there with the freight elevator. And so you got this window and it's you're conducting an orchestra almost, if you will, it's unbelievable. Well, let's stick around when we wrap up here, but I would like, so if somebody who hears the podcast, watches the video, which they're going to be entertained, how did they get a hold of you? Like, what's the best way? Give us your website, give us your phone numbers. Well, how do we get a hold of you?
So the best way, I mean, first take a peek at our website, and you can even reach out via the website. So it's www.twogirlsandahammerllc.com. It's TWOGIRLSANDAHAMMERLLC.com. Or else you can find us on social media, which you can message us. On Instagram, it's at 2girlsandahammer, all spelled out. Facebook too. My phone number would be 773-383-5406. But any of those methods of people text us all the time. They message us on, Instagram all the time, or reach out to us via our website. I mean, we get a lot of all of it.
Yeah, those are your key go-tos. And I think that's good though. I mean, you have all of that out there. And again, that's how, besides we both were brokers at the same brokerage firm, and your Instagram, like I said, that's how perfect. Here we are. So social media does work. And then that way,
because then people can see, like, we're not using anybody else's inspiration pictures like a lot of people do, right? Like,
oh yeah,
this is a great closet, and then they tag the person, but it's like, hey, this is our stuff. Like, we've done this. Like,
right.
This is like blood, sweat, and tears over here. Like
the story I could tell you behind this picture,
right.
This fantastic picture.
Right.
Right.
So I feel like that's like really important. So that's why I think that us having like an active social media account and stuff, like it's 2022. Like right. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's what's needed.
It's a necessity. It's a necessity, and you have to always make sure we're posting because you want to, what sets you apart, what sets you apart as contractors, as visionaries, what sets you apart. And that's the best way to show what is the picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Right. And we have 3 to 5 second attention span. We're
like design built. So like from every aspect, like we will coordinate the, refer you to the lenders. We have the architect on speed dial. We have, all the stuff, the permit office, like Rose and I go, we are super hands-on. So like, I feel like those things, like we coordinate all your deliveries. Somebody like just contacted us not that long ago and they're like, well, I'm moving out, but like, I really don't want to deal with like, it's like an executive. He's like, I don't want to deal with this. Like all the stuff inside the unit and we need to do the floor. So we like are coordinating the whole move out, having like the moving company come pack all the stuff up.
We're like, are you sure you don't want to purge before you
Oh.
We highly recommend purging, but no, he's a single man. He just doesn't want, pick it all out. I don't care. Just do it. This is what I want done. Okay, great. We can do that.
Great.
Yeah, no problem. We'll call you back in 3 months when you can move back in,
But it's just like having somebody to do all that stuff. It is different, right? Like
it is. It's very unique. You've not, I don't know if anybody else that does quite like that is that hands-on where they're going to move someone out.
Maybe we're a little too hands-on now that I'm thinking about it.
We try to be helpful, and just try to say, because we have the resources.
It's like, client orientated. Yeah.
It's part of the deal. We know all these people, we know movers, we know storage companies, we know all of that. So, okay, we make a couple of phone calls for you and coordinate that and because we're coordinating our team anyway. So
what's a few more phone calls?
Well, it's also kind of like then we know what's really going on. Like you are going to be gone this day and we are starting the project.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah. Cause we've had times where the crew shows up for demo and they're like, I haven't cleaned out the kitchen. It's like, okay, so we pack them up. We've literally packed boxes.
Rose was packing. It was like during Passover or something. Yeah. And it was like all this, like,
it was crazy. And they knew we were coming. It's like the guys are with the sledgehammer standing at the door.
And she's got like a thing of literally in her hand.
It's like, it's like, well, as long as we're doing this, do you really need this paprika? You have 5 of them.
Right.
Yeah, this one looks like it came over on the Mayflower, right? And
but it was like really entertaining. Like for us, and they were like such good sports about it. But it was just, there was a lot to do the morning of.
Yeah.
We got, started a little late.
We got it done.
But you got it done. And that's the thing. That's the key thing. Matters. So we're going to wrap up here. Like I said, stick around. I've enjoyed, I hope all of the audience has enjoyed you guys as our conversation. This is a riot. I can't wait to do more with you guys because this is, we have a great dynamic. So thank you for listening to LUXE Life, our podcast here. I'm your host, Jennifer Williams, and it's been my pleasure to have 2 Girls and a Hammer on as my guest today. And we're looking forward to far more.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You.